the some of the ego identified how by day to day day to day life where we face some of the egos which comes in our life, uh, and and we need to become aware. So now we will talk about, for this time I will cover complaining and resentment, and later in different sessions, we'll try to cover all the 16 egos. Okay, so first ego is a complaining. We always keep complaining, this is not happening, blaming people, name calling, shouting, screaming, sometimes physical violence. Day to day ego is in mind, always unconscious, loves problem. Ego always loves problems because it gives identity of source. That's why um, even there is no problem, we look for a problem. In all solution, you find the problem because ego loves problem. Then you start complaining. The moment you pick up a problem, now you start complaining. So when you complain, you make yourself victim, right? Ego loves being a victim. Ego loves that nobody uh, taking care of me, bothers me, nobody cares me, because ego always feels ego is not connected to the source, and who are deeper supreme consciousness or inner resource. Ego always feels incomplete. Ego always feels like victim. That is the basic trait of the ego. That is the basic character of the ego. You complain to make yourself a victim. Hard tool said, leave the situation, change the situation, or accept it. All else is madness. There is nothing else you can do about it. So, complaining, resentment, blaming, all that's like that, where you resist the situation, then that is a madness. Complaining is a non-acceptance what it is. The moment you start complaining, don't accept and complain current situation, the the way it is and what it is, you develop resistance. The moment you develop resistance, you persist. The resistance unconsciously carry negative charge. And what you feel, that is what you draw more in your life. I repeat again. The resistance unconsciously carry negative charge. And what you feel inside, that is what you draw in your life. So, what you are, that is what it happens in your life. So, you should be very careful what you always feel it. The what you feel, that is what you draw more in your life, and that gives more ego, and ego loves problems. Okay, so that is the one we talked about. Now we'll go to the second one, the resentment. The resentment is a second trait of ego. And the resentment, maybe, like, could be with the people, situation. So what happens is, most of the time, we love to, whatever we don't like, we resent. We don't understand everyone in their own state or level of consciousness, and what is not as per our choice or liking, we start resenting. So we don't like someone attitude, we resent that person. Not we resent his or her attitude, but we resent that person. Why? Because that the person, what happens is, we make their unconscious state our own identity. They are in the unconscious state. Now then we ego identifies with their subconscious state. Oh, our ego identified with their unconscious state, their ego, their unconscious personality state of unconsciousness, that becomes our problem. Suppose somebody crossing the road or shouting on you for no reason, assuming for no reason. Now he shout on you. Now you stop, and you answer him back, or resent, or you are angry, or you are upset. You know what happened is, when you are angry and upset, you start answering back. That person is unconscious state. He addicted to ego. Now you also unconscious state, and you identify with his unconscious state. The moment you identify his unconscious state, you start taking his words personally, and the ego personally, and the ego is your personality self. How can you shout at me, and how can you speak to me like that? You identify with that the moment you identify with his unconscious state, and now it becomes your problem. You resentful, now you complaining. But if you suppose, if you do not identify, or suppose you do not identify, you are passing by, so he is unconscious state. Someone is alcoholic or drunkard on the street, he is abusing, nobody cares, because they know that he's drunk, he's not in conscious, like conscious to address it. People say he's drunk, he's a drunkard, and the people, and then they pass by him. Same way, we are drunk by ego, that makes unconscious, because we unconscious, we are also unconscious. Somebody is talking like that, we don't have to, somebody is talking like that, you don't have to identify with their unconscious state. Then that doesn't affect us at all. We know, we don't owe it. His unconscious state, his own issue. We does not, that it does not define me. I am going on my work, so that where the issue lies, so that why non reaction is a way to resolve ego. Actually, non reaction is the way to correct our ego, the human ego. Sometimes, just to be non reactive, just to be silent in that moment, just let it be, do not identify with that, then that will not become your misery. Buddha said, pain is inevitable, but suffering is the option. You will have lifetime suffering, painful situation in your life. The man abused for the painful situation, but suffering is my choice. If I identify with that, then I suffer. If I did not identify with the unconscious, then I do not suffer. Suffering is an option. Nobody dies with the snake bite. But only when they die after the venom or the poison spreads in your body. When other person was using the abusive word, the venom which allowed that spread in our consciousness, now identified in our own personal self. Ego, or ego in unconscious state. We allowed it to spread, that became poison. If you don't allow the venom to spread, then it will not poison, it is not a poison for me, then it does not matter to us. So there is no judgment, resentment. Whatever the problem is, whatever may be the situation, nobody can make you unhappy without your consent, right? It is your choice. You choose not to control the situation. You don't control outside situation, but how you react and how you respond is totally within your control choice. Once you understand that, coming from the state of ego, you will not identify with their unconscious state, then you will not suffer, right? So what irritate about others is the part of the ego active in you, in a way trying to tell you this part of ego is active in you. That's why when you respond, that says not only he or her unconscious state, and you also in unconscious state. Not only he is drunk by ego, and even you are drunk by the ego. Then the whole drama starts. So Rumi said, if you are irritated by every rub, how will you polish? Whatever happens is, whenever raise a problem, you resist. Or when you resent, hardens the shell of the ego. The more you resist, the more the ego will become hardened, and the more you become close. But the truth is, once you accept the situation the way it is, without any judgment, without any blaming, not saying good or bad, right or wrong, when you accept the way it is, and the acceptance softens the ego, then you are more open to life. I think I'll tell you one story. Buddha was meditating. One cow raiser came to Buddha passing by. He wants to go to the restroom. He told Buddha, I will leave all my cow here, look after them. And then he came back, and he saw that now Buddha was in the meditating state. Buddha did not focus on what he was saying, and when he came back, he saw the cow all over the place. The Buddha was sitting silently. He got mad, angry, very upset. He started shouting on Buddha and I told you it's such a small thing you could not do now. My cow are everywhere, and abusing Buddha. Buddha was completely non-reactive. uh, and shouting. He was just shouting. He realized this man with no reaction. He had calm and peaceful in his face. And by seeing Buddha's reaction in the state, something shifted in his consciousness. Something, something triggered in his conscious. When Buddha's aura connected with his own source, then he realized who I am to shout for, what I'm shouting for. Then he started crying, and eventually he became Buddha's disciple. So sometimes non-reaction is a way to drop ego or personal ego or collective ego. So non-reaction is the best way. Do not need to engage with their conscious state. The problem, somebody is in unconscious state, do not engage with the unconscious state. That is how the argument starts. You can never argue with a conscious person. It is impossible to argue because the person is conscious, and who is aware will not engage with you unconscious state. The fact you are arguing unconscious state, the unconscious person will not engage in your conscious state. That is why never have argument with the conscious person. That's why embrace silence. Silence is the speech of all spiritual seeker, right? So good to embrace silence. Your silence transient things. Other person thinks equal to his emotion state. There is no point engaging in that state, because when he changes his emotion state, when he's in calm and peaceful, relaxed, then go if you want to address it. But to address at that moment when he's calm and peaceful, there is no point of reacting at the state when he's angry. We came as a creator, not as a reactor. But the whole life we live as a reactor, but not as a creator. I'll end this one. This is the I want